China and Russia are two of the most powerful nations in the world, united by shared interests yet divided by historical grievances, territorial disputes, and contrasting ambitions. While their alliance is often portrayed as strategic and robust, it is built on a fragile foundation of convenience rather than trust. This video explores the historical roots, economic interdependence, military dynamics, potential flashpoints, and global implications of their relationship, examining the prospect of a conflict that could reshape the geopolitical landscape. The historical roots of a complex relationship. The relationship between China and Russia has been marked by rivalry and cooperation, shifting dramatically over the past century. After World War II, both nations emerged as communist superpowers, presenting a united front against the capitalist West. However, ideological differences soon surfaced, leading to a fractious and competitive dynamic. During the early years of the Cold War, the Soviet Union and China aligned ideologically, but tensions brewed beneath the surface. The death of Joseph Stalin in 1953 created a leadership vacuum in the communist world. Mao Zedong, China's leader, questioned the Soviet Union's ability to lead, especially under Nikita Khrushchev, whose policies Mao deemed too conciliatory toward the West. This disagreement culminated in the Sino-Soviet split of the 1960s, with both nations vying for dominance in the communist bloc. The Vietnam War highlighted their diverging approaches to global strategy. While both opposed U.S. involvement, they disagreed on the best course of action, further straining their relationship. By the 1970s, China pivoted toward the United States, seeking a pragmatic alliance to counterbalance Soviet influence. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a new chapter in Sino-Russian relations. The newly formed Russian Federation, under economic and geopolitical strain, sought to mend ties with China. Over the following decades, the two nations aligned against U.S. hegemony, finding common ground in their opposition to Western interventionism. However, their partnership remained transactional, shaped more by mutual necessity than genuine camaraderie. Economic interdependence, a double-edged sword. Economic ties form the cornerstone of the Sino-Russian alliance, yet they reveal significant imbalances that could undermine the partnership. Russia serves as a vital supplier of natural resources to China, providing oil, gas, timber, and coal essential for sustaining China's industrial growth. The Ukraine conflict deepened this dependency, as Western sanctions forced Russia to redirect its energy exports to China at discounted rates. For Beijing, this arrangement offers a strategic advantage, allowing it to secure vital resources while reducing its reliance on volatile maritime trade routes. China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative could dramatically alter the economic balance between the two nations. By constructing overland trade routes across Asia, the Belt and Road Initiative aims to bypass U.S.-controlled maritime choke points, such as the Strait of Malacca. If successful, this initiative could reduce China's dependence on Russian resources, diminishing Moscow's leverage in the partnership. However, the Belt and Road Initiative faces significant challenges, including political resistance, debt burdens on participating nations, and delays caused by global disruptions like the COVID-19 pandemic. While the project's long-term impact remains uncertain, its success could redefine Sino-Russian economic relations. Economic leverage. China's economic dominance gives it considerable leverage over Russia, as Moscow becomes increasingly reliant on Beijing for trade and investment. China could use this dependency to negotiate more favorable terms, asserting greater influence over their partnership. Over time, this imbalance may strain the relationship as Russia struggles to maintain its sovereignty in the face of growing Chinese power. Both nations possess formidable military capabilities, but their strengths and vulnerabilities vary, shaping how a potential conflict might unfold. China has a significantly larger active military force, with approximately 2 million personnel compared to Russia's 1.3 million. Additionally, China's population of 1.4 billion provides a vast pool of potential recruits, dwarfing Russia's 140 million. However, China's military lacks recent combat experience, having not engaged in a major conflict since the Sino-Vietnamese War in 1979. In contrast, Russia has been involved in numerous conflicts, including the ongoing war in Ukraine. While these engagements have provided valuable battlefield experience, they have also exposed weaknesses in Russia's tactics and strained its military resources. Technological advancements. China has invested heavily in modernizing its military, developing advanced fighter jets like the Chengdu J-20 and a robust drone industry. These innovations highlight Beijing's strategic focus on technological superiority. In contrast, Russia relies on older aircraft models, such as the MiG-29 and Su-27, with limited production of newer designs like the Su-35. Russia's numerical superiority in tanks and artillery is offset by the aging state of its equipment. Many of its vehicles are refurbished older models, and high production costs have limited the deployment of advanced designs like the T-14 Armata tank. This technological gap gives China an advantage in certain areas, particularly unmanned warfare and aerial combat. Russia's nuclear arsenal is one of its most significant assets, with an estimated 5,500 warheads compared to China's 500. This disparity serves as a powerful deterrent, making any direct conflict between the two nations unlikely. However, the presence of nuclear weapons also raises the stakes, as any escalation could lead to catastrophic consequences. Potential flashpoints for conflict. Despite their strategic partnership, several unresolved issues could ignite tensions between China and Russia. The region of Outer Manchuria, annexed by Russia in the 19th century, remains a potential flashpoint. While China has not officially claimed the territory, it continues to assert its historical ties, keeping nationalist sentiments alive. This unresolved issue underscores the fragility of their partnership. Siberia's resource-rich landscape is another area of contention. Its timber, coal, and fresh water are vital to China's industrial centers, making it a strategic target. As China's energy needs grow and its reliance on Russian resources diminishes through the BRI, competition over these resources could strain their alliance further. The legacy of past conflicts, such as the 1969 border skirmishes along the Ushiri River, highlights the underlying mistrust between the two nations. These historical grievances could resurface, complicating efforts to maintain a stable partnership. Global implications of a Sino-Russian conflict. A war between China and Russia would have profound consequences, destabilizing not only their respective regions, but also the global geopolitical landscape. The United States and its allies could exploit a Sino-Russian conflict to weaken both adversaries. This might involve supporting one side economically or militarily, further escalating tensions and complicating the conflict. Such involvement would likely turn a bilateral dispute into a multi-front crisis, with far-reaching implications. The global economy would suffer significantly from disrupted trade routes and resource shortages. China and Russia are major players in global markets, and a prolonged conflict could destabilize industries ranging from energy to technology. Nations dependent on their exports would face severe economic challenges, amplifying the conflict's impact. The role of alliances. Existing alliances would be tested in the event of a conflict. Nations like India, Iran, and North Korea could be drawn into the fray, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. The involvement of these nations would likely expand the scope of the war, creating new fronts and exacerbating global instability. While a military confrontation remains a possibility, economic strategy offers an alternative path for China to assert its dominance over Russia. China's continued investment in the Belt and Road Initiative and its growing economic influence could gradually reduce its reliance on Russian resources. This shift would allow Beijing to assert greater control over the partnership, sidelining Moscow without resorting to direct conflict. China's dominance in trade and investment gives it significant leverage over Russia. By using economic pressure to renegotiate terms in its favor, China could achieve its strategic objectives without risking the catastrophic consequences of war. The future of the Sino-Russian alliance. The relationship between China and Russia is a delicate balancing act, shaped by shared interests and historical tensions. While economic interdependence and mutual opposition to U.S. dominance have brought the two nations closer, their conflicting ambitions and strategic priorities pose significant challenges. As China's economic and military capabilities continue to grow, its influence over Russia is likely to increase. This imbalance could strain their partnership, particularly as Beijing seeks to assert greater control over trade and resources. At the same time, both nations have a vested interest in maintaining stability, as a breakdown in their alliance could have dire consequences for their respective regions and the world at large. And that's the tangled tale of China and Russia, a friendship that's more awkward than a blind date with your boss. Who knows if they'll stay BFFs or throw shade across borders? One thing's for sure, if these two titans clash, popcorn sales are going through the roof. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because global drama never takes a day off.